The planet Zarkon was wild and dangerous. Its skies were dark with swirling storms. Thick purple trees covered the land, their twisted branches hiding many secrets. Strange sounds echoed through the air, growls, roars, and cries of unknown creatures. Near a large river, a group of aliens stood watching something quietly. Their skin was green and scaly. Their eyes were sharp and full of fear. They did not move. They did not speak much. They only stared. On the ground, a massive beast lay still. It was the size of a big truck. Its sharp teeth showed even when its mouth was closed. Its dark fur was wet with blood. One leg was bent in a strange way, broken and bleeding. The beast was breathing hard, struggling to stay awake. The aliens knew this was a dangerous predator. It was feared across the galaxy. No one had ever seen it lose a fight before. But now it was weak and hurt. The aliens whispered among themselves. Some wanted to kill the beast quickly. Others thought maybe it was better to leave it alone. But all agreed on one thing. This beast was deadly. Suddenly, from the edge of the forest, a figure appeared. It was a human. The aliens tensed. They raised their weapons and prepared for an attack. But the human did not run. The human did not fight. Instead, the human walked slowly toward the wounded beast. The human's name was Kyle. Kyle was not afraid. His eyes were calm. His face was serious but kind. He moved carefully, almost like he knew the beast. The aliens gasped. Why was this human doing this? Why was he walking toward a dangerous predator? Was he crazy? Kyle stopped a few feet away from the beast. He looked at the wound on the predator's leg. It was deep and ugly. Blood flowed slowly but steadily. Without hesitation, Kyle reached into his bag and pulled out a small box. It was full of strange tools and bottles. He took out a bottle with a glowing green liquid. The aliens watched in silence, confused. Kyle knelt beside the beast. The beast opened one eye. It stared at Kyle. It growled low in its throat. Kyle spoke, softly in a language no alien understood. He touched the beast's leg gently. He poured the green liquid on the wound. The beast flinched but did not move away. Kyle worked carefully, cleaning the wound and putting on a bandage made from strong alien fibers. The aliens could not believe what they were seeing. The human was healing the predator. This was not mercy. This was something else. Suddenly, a young alien named Ryle stepped forward. "Stop!" Ryle shouted. "This beast will kill you. Why help it?" Kale looked up, calm and steady. "Because it needs help," Kale said. "Because I want to help." The aliens murmured among themselves. Some moved closer, some backed away. Kale looked at the beast again. The beast's breathing slowed. Its eyes closed for a moment. Kyle smiled. "This beast is not my enemy." Ryle shook his head. "How can you say that? It could kill us all." Kyle stood up slowly. "Maybe. But if I can heal it, maybe it will fight for me. Maybe it will become more than a beast." The aliens were silent. They looked at each other with worry and confusion. The beast opened its eyes again. This time, it watched Kyle. There was no anger in its eyes, only pain and something strange. Trust? Kale sat down beside the beast and rested his hand on its head. The aliens kept watching. For the first time, they saw the predator not as a monster, but as something else. A creature that could be tamed. A creature that could be a friend. Kale whispered, "To the beast, you will be strong again, I promise." Suddenly, a loud roar came from the forest. The aliens turned their heads quickly. A pack of smaller predators was coming. They smelled the wounded beast. The aliens raised their weapons. Kale looked at the pack. He stood up, facing the pack calmly. The aliens waited, ready for a fight, but Kale did not move. He waited. The pack stopped at the edge of the clearing. Then something surprising happened. The wounded beast, still weak but alive, stood up slowly. It looked at the pack, and then it roared, loud and powerful. The pack growled back, but they did not attack. Instead, they turned around and ran back into the forest. Kyle smiled quietly. The aliens stared. Shock. The predator had protected the human. not the other way around. Kale turned to the aliens. "This beast is not just a wild animal," he said. "It is my companion, and soon it will be yours too." The aliens looked at each other. Some were still unsure, others were curious, but one thing was clear: this human was different, and this predator was no longer just a beast. The story had just begun. The aliens still watched Kale and the great predator. They did not understand this strange human's calm or the beast's trust. Many whispered among themselves. "Who is this human?" one alien asked. "Why does he not fear the predator?" Kyle noticed their questions but said little. Instead, he focused on the beast, which now rested quietly, still weak but safe. One alien named Ryle stepped forward again. "Tell us, why did you come here? What is your story?" Kale looked at Ryle. His eyes were calm but full of deep pain. "I come from Earth," Kyle said slowly. "A place far from here." Ryle's eyes grew wide. "Earth? You mean the old planet that many believe is lost?" Kyle nodded. "Yes. I was born there, trained there. I learned how to survive, how to fight, and how to care for creatures, even dangerous ones." The aliens listened carefully. Kyle took a deep breath and told them a story. "When I was a child, I found a small injured animal in the wild. It was hurt and scared. Most people would have left it to die. But I helped it. I cleaned its wounds and fed it. Over time, it became my friend." Kyle looked at the big predator again. "This predator here, it reminds me of that animal. Strong, wild, but needing help." The aliens were silent. They looked at the predator differently now. Ryle asked, "But why do you risk your life? This beast could kill you in a second." Kyle smiled a little. "Because sometimes trust is stronger than fear. Because sometimes help creates power." Suddenly, Gale's voice grew serious. "I have a secret." The aliens leaned closer, curious. Kale continued, "I am not just a human. I was trained by Earth's elite soldiers. I learned special skills to fight, to heal, to connect with animals. I was chosen for missions others could not do." The aliens' eyes widened. They had heard stories about Earth's elite warriors, fierce, smart, and unstoppable. Kale said quietly, "That is why this predator trusts me. It knows I am not a threat. It knows I can protect it." The aliens looked at each other, surprised and unsure. One alien whispered, "Is it possible a human can tame such a beast?" Kale smiled. "Not just tame. I can make it stronger. Together we are more than hunters. We are partners." Ryle was still doubtful. "What will happen if your secret is found? If others come to fight you?" Kale's eyes grew hard. "Then, we will fight together." The aliens felt the weight of his words. They saw the strength behind his calm face. The predator stirred. It opened its eyes and looked at Kyle. Slowly, it moved closer to him. Kyle reached out his hand. The beast sniffed it, then nudged it gently. The aliens gasped. This was no wild animal anymore. It was a loyal companion. Suddenly, the ground shook. The aliens looked toward the horizon. More enemies were coming. Kale stood up, ready. He looked at the predator and said, "This is only the beginning. We will face many dangers, but we will survive. Together." The aliens watched, their fear now mixed. With curiosity and respect, the story of the human and the predator was far from over. The sun began to set over the wild planet Zarkon. Shadows stretched long across the strange purple trees, and the air grew colder. The aliens still watched Kyle and the great predator, but now with less fear and more curiosity. Kyle sat near the wounded beast, gently stroking its thick dark fur. The predator, which Kale named Kor, leaned into his touch, its breathing steady but still slow. Suddenly, a sharp noise broke the calm. "Watch out!" shouted one of the aliens. From the dense forest, a group of hostile creatures burst out. Smaller predators, but quick and deadly. Their eyes glowed red, and their teeth shone sharp in the fading light. They had smelled Kor's blood and came to finish what the big predator could not. Kale jumped to his feet and shouted, "Kor, get ready!" The great predator growled low, standing tall despite its injuries. The aliens panicked and raised their weapons, but Kyle stopped them. "Wait," he said firmly. "This is our fight." The pack of smaller predators charged forward, snarling and fast. Kale moved to stand between them and Core. The battle was fierce. Core lunged at the attackers, its powerful body moving with surprising speed. The smaller predators attacked with claws and teeth, but Core defended itself fiercely. Kyle stayed close, throwing sharp rocks and shouting commands. His voice was calm but strong. The aliens watched in awe. They saw the human and the predator working as one. Core's strength grew with each moment. Despite its wounded leg, it fought with courage and skill. Kyle's heart pounded, but his mind was clear. He reached out to Core and whispered, "You're stronger than you think." Slowly, Core began to push the attackers back. The smaller predators growled and hesitated. Then, one by one, they turned and ran. The clearing was quiet again. Kale knelt beside Core, breathing hard. He looked at the great beast and smiled. "You did it." Core looked up at Kale, eyes full of trust. Kale felt a new connection, stronger than before. The aliens who had watched the battle were amazed. Ryle stepped forward, nodding slowly. "You two, you are a true team." Kale looked at the aliens and said, "This is only the start. Core and I will protect this planet together." The aliens whispered among themselves. Some were still unsure, but others were ready to follow Kale. Kale helped Core lie down gently. He pulled out some healing herbs from his bag. "We need to help you heal faster," Kyle said softly. Core closed its eyes and relaxed under Kyle's care. The bond between human and beast was growing. Suddenly, Kyle heard a faint noise, a distant roar, louder and different. He stood up quickly. "What now?" one alien asked. Nervously, Kale's face grew serious. "We are not alone. There is something bigger coming." The aliens tensed. Kale grabbed his weapon and prepared. He looked at Core. "We must be ready." The story was far from over. Kale and Core were no longer just hunter and prey. They were partners. They were survivors. And soon they would show everyone why humans were special. The night grew darker on planet Zarkon. The purple trees cast long, strange shadows that seemed to move with the wind. Kale stood beside Core, feeling the weight of what was coming. The distant roar had not stopped. Instead, it grew louder and closer. Kale looked at the aliens gathered around the campfire. Their eyes were wide with fear. "We have enemies coming," Kale said calmly but firmly. "Stronger than before." Rill stepped forward, voice trembling. "What kind of enemies?" Kale shook his head. "Something worse than the smaller predators. They are called the Shadow Clan, silent, deadly, and they hunt without mercy." The aliens whispered among themselves, fear spreading like wildfire. Kyle crouched beside Core and touched the great beast's head. "We must be ready to fight, but not just with weapons. We need to be smart." Core growled low, sensing the danger. Suddenly, the wind shifted. A dark shape moved quickly through the trees, too fast to see clearly. Kale grabbed his blaster. "Get ready!" The aliens followed Kale's lead, preparing their weapons and scanning the shadows. Then, without warning, the Shadow Clan attacked. Silent and fast, they appeared like ghosts. Their sharp claws and knives flashed in the firelight. Kale fired his blaster, but the Shadow Clan dodged easily. Core roared and charged, despite the pain in its leg. Kyle moved quickly, using his training to block and strike. The battle was fierce and close. Kyle noticed something strange. The Shadow Clan avoided Core. It was as if the big predator scared them. Kale took advantage of this. "Stay close to Core," he shouted. "He's our best defense." The aliens followed his orders, fighting back with renewed courage. After what felt like hours, the Shadow Clan retreated into the darkness. Kyle and the aliens were safe. For now. Kyle looked at Core, who was breathing heavily but still strong. "We survived," Kale said. "But they will come back." The aliens nodded, understanding the danger was far from over. Kyle turned to the group. "We need to prepare better, build defenses, train harder. The camp was quiet except for the crackling fire. Kyle thought about Earth, about his training, and about the future. He knew this fight was only beginning, but with Core by his side and the aliens ready to stand with him, Kyle felt hope. They would protect this world. Together. The morning light crept through the trees of planet Zarkon, but the air was still heavy with tension. Kyle stood near Core, who was resting but alert. The wounds on the great predator were healing slowly, yet the danger was far from over. The aliens gathered around the campfire, whispering and watching Kale closely. Some still doubted the human's strange bond with the predator. Rill, the leader of the alien group, stepped forward. "Kyle, why do you trust this beast? It is dangerous, even wounded." Kyle looked at Core, who blinked slowly and nudged Kyle's hand. "Because Core is not just a beast," Kyle said softly. "He's a friend, a protector, and together, we are stronger than anyone thinks." The aliens exchanged uneasy glances. Suddenly the ground shook. A loud roar echoed through the forest, louder, deeper, and more terrifying than before. Kale's heart raced. "Another predator," he said. "Bigger, stronger, it's coming this way." The aliens panicked. "Where do we hide?" one asked. Kale shook his head. "We don't hide. We fight, but smart." He turned to Core. "We need to prepare." Kale spent the day training the aliens and helping Core get stronger. He taught them how to work as a team, to use the forest to their advantage, and how to trust each other, even the predator. As night fell, the terrifying roar grew closer. Kyle and the aliens stood ready. Core rose slowly, his eyes glowing with fierce determination. The giant predator stepped forward. The new enemy appeared, a massive beast, taller and stronger than Core, with sharp teeth and glowing red eyes. The battle was about to begin. Kale looked at Core and whispered, "We're ready. Do you want me to continue with part 6? The night was thick and heavy on planet Zarkon. The moon hid behind dark clouds, casting only faint light over the forest clearing. Kyle stood beside Core, his heart pounding, waiting for the massive beast to arrive. The aliens around them were tense but ready. They had trained hard and listened carefully to Kale's commands. Suddenly the ground shook violently. From the shadows stepped the giant predator, bigger and stronger than anything Kale had ever seen. Its roar echoed through the trees, shaking the very air. Core growled back, standing firm despite his wounds. Kale raised his blaster and shouted, "Hold your ground! Protect each other!" The massive beast charged forward, claws slashing through the air. Core met the attack head-on, teeth bared and muscles tense. The two predators crashed together with a force that sent dust and leaves flying. The aliens watched, in awe and fear. Kale moved quickly, shooting at the giant beast whenever it turned toward the group. The aliens fired too, but the beast was fast and powerful. Core fought with all his strength, but the pain in his leg slowed him down. Kale saw Core falter and rushed to his side. "Don't give up, Core," he shouted. Core roared and pushed back with renewed energy. The battle raged on for what felt like hours. Both predators were strong, but Core had something the giant beast didn't: Kyle's trust and support. Finally, with a powerful bite and a swift move, Core managed to knock the giant predator down. The beast growled weakly and slowly backed away into the forest. Kyle and the aliens cheered, but Kyle knew the fight was not over. He knelt beside Core, pressing his hand to the wound. "You're a true fighter," Kyle said softly. Core looked at Kyle, eyes full of loyalty. Kyle stood and faced the aliens. "We survived today because we trusted each other, because we fought together." The aliens nodded, respect and awe in their eyes. Kyle smiled, feeling hope for the first time since he arrived on this wild planet. But deep inside, he knew new challenges were coming. The battle for survival had only just begun. The sun rose over the strange forests of Zarkon, painting the sky with warm colors. Kale stood quietly, watching Core move slowly but steadily. The great predator was healing well, stronger every day. The aliens gathered around them, no longer afraid but full of respect. They had seen how Kale and Core fought side by side, Not as enemies, but as friends. Real, the alien leader, stepped forward and smiled. You have changed everything, Kale. You showed us that strength is more than power. It is trust and courage. Kale nodded. We all have a place here. Humans, aliens, and even creatures like Core. The camp was peaceful now, but Kale knew they must stay ready. Danger still lurked in the shadows, but together they were stronger. As Kale looked around, he realized this planet was no longer just a wild world. It was home. Core let out a soft growl and nuzzled Kyle's hand. Kyle smiled. We fight for this new beginning. For all of us. The aliens cheered, and the future felt bright. The battle had been hard, but it had forged a new path. One where humans and aliens could stand together, protect each other, and face whatever came next. Kale looked to the horizon, ready for the adventures ahead.